One very important section in the CLAT exam is the GK and the current affairs section. And most of the aspirants do not know how to do a structured preparation for the same. Hello everyone and welcome to NLTI. In this video, we are going to understand that if you're getting started with your CLAT preparation and if you really want to ace the GK and current affairs section, what should be your approach and what should be your strategy. So let's get started. First of all, let us understand what is something which most of the aspirants do wrong. What do? They open the newspaper and they read everything under the sun. And they feel that everything is important. But if you have actually analyzed the previous year question papers, you will understand that not reading everything is important, but reading things which can actually show up in the exam is something important. And figuring that out will need a lot of skill and precision and accuracy and consistency. And that's something which we are going to understand today. Let us see how the GK section actually looks like in the CLAT exam. So what we have observed in the past few years that the GK section has around 28 questions and there are around 5 to 6 passages associated in this section. The format is passage based, which means there are going to be passages, 5 to 6 passages, and there are going to be MCQs associated with the same. And we have observed that direct one-liners are rarely tested now. So what is really important that you should know? That not everything that is happening under the sun is relevant to you. You might not get a direct question. However, information which is associated with an event may be tested passively and not directly. But what does that mean? Let us understand. So in the past 5 years, we have observed that in the GK section, the questions around current affairs linked to context is around 45 to 50%. Issue-based questions are around 25 to 30%. Institution-based questions are around 15 to 20%, which basically tests that which institution, which organization is involved, what is their role, what is their composition, what are their functions, all of that. And direct questions are less than 10%. So what is something that you definitely should take away from this is that GK section is not going to test how well you memorize things, but how well you have understood the entire issue and the associated organizations, facts, and events with the same. Also, one more thing. A lot of students, they think that reading news alone will fulfill all that is required. That is a myth. For example, the issue in hand is Russia-Ukraine or Israel-Hamas conflict. Students, they anticipate and they think that the questions might be around dates or events or updates around the issues. However, what we have observed that the questions are more about historical evolution of the issue, nature of the conflict, and how that entire conflict has changed the geopolitics. For being able to answer this, reading newspaper alone is not going to be enough. You need to know the issue inside out, everything that has happened around the same. So newspaper alone will just let you know the current update on it. But the history and the significance and the impact that it might have is something you will understand if you will dig deep into that topic. So what exactly CLAT is doing with the current affairs section? It is not directly testing the issues. However, these issues are just the entry point. Any event that happens at national or international level, you also have to understand the background of the same, what is the context and concept around the same, and then you can expect a question based on all the information now you have understood. So for example, if there is a passage which is discussing a summit, so it might not directly ask you about the dates and events around the summit, but it can ask you questions around the organization that is associated with it, the treaty that has been framed around the same, and what is the long-term purpose and objective of that summit. Now, a lot of students are afraid of the science and technology section that is tested in CLAT. So for preparing the science and tech, what do you actually have to keep in mind? What we have observed that in the past few years, questions around space missions, AI and technology developments have been tested, yes. But the questions are not around launch dates or the budget or other insignificant announcements that have been made. However, there are questions around the purpose of the mission, the role of different components involved in that mission, and how the technology has been classified. So again, just knowing the factual things is not going to help you. You need to understand how these events are actually relevant in the field of science and technology. Next widely tested area in CLAT is policy and governance. And A lot of questions are tested around this area, and the questions are usually around constitutional development, some government schemes, any new law or policy that has been introduced, and debates around those laws and policy. You can expect the questions around the scope of law, how this law will be applicable, on whom this law will be applicable, and what is the purpose behind the same, and what all authorities, institutions and organizations are actually involved to execute those laws and policies. So now the big question, how you should actually be preparing for GK section from day one. So instead of reading everything that is coming your way, be focused, be very structured. Whenever you read anything in the newspaper, make sure that you ask yourself these questions. What is this issue about? Which institution is actually involved in this issue? What different laws or policies are connected to this issue? And why does it matter in long run? If you are reading any topic which is not able to answer these questions, the chances of that topic being tested in CLAT is very less. Something equally important to know and understand is that what all different topics you can actually avoid and ignore while preparing your GK section. So, any topic which is around daily small news, any awards which are without any context, any random match results, any celebrity news or one-time appointments are redundant and unnecessary. Do not waste your time and energy in memorizing all these news, because like I mentioned, the likelihood of them being tested in the exam are very less. Another important question that a lot of aspirants have, that what should be the different sources that they should use for preparing the GK section. So for editorials, for understanding and deep explanation of the editorials, please refer to the Hindu. Refer to the Indian Express for understanding the issues and gathering different opinion around the same. Press Information Bureau for understanding different laws and policies, right? Government and institutional websites for understanding different schemes or laws. And finally, please refer to one monthly compendium to revise everything that you are reading throughout the month. Revision is something which is non-negotiable. Revision is something which is extremely important. Reading and understanding news is just half the battle won. The other half is making notes. Your own handwritten notes or typed notes, whatever is convenient for you. And something which you should keep in mind while making those notes is everything that you are writing about a certain issue should be in this format and should be restricted to this format only. You should discuss the issue, the background around the same, what different institutions or laws or policies are involved, and why it matters to actually understand this problem. Because if you understand the significance of the issue, you will understand if it will be tested in CLAT or not. And if you can figure things out, if you can identify the topics which can be tested in CLAT, your chances of answering it correctly will eventually improve. So, what should be your daily GK plan? You should be spending around 30 to 40 minutes every day in reading newspapers. Reading alone is not enough. You also have to make time of around 10 to 15 minutes to make short notes around the same. Make sure you're also giving time to revise all of it that you are reading and making notes of. So, every month, please take some time out and revise all that you have read in the past 1 month. And finally, keep on practicing yourself by solving MCQs. So I hope you found this video useful and you're going to incorporate all the strategies that I have shared with you in this video. Thank you so much for watching, everyone, and stay tuned for more.